Hi, and welcome to this ForNAV coffee break. My name is René Brummel. I'm a product specialist at ForNAV, and I will be your presenter today. As this coffee break is live, you can ask your questions via the GoToWebinar question window. We will answer them at the end of the coffee break. Today, we are going to create your Business Central email layouts with ForNAV. To demonstrate creating Business Central email layouts, we will set up the ForNAV email body layouts and edit them. We will focus on the existing email layouts for ForNAV report pack reports in this coffee break. However, you can create an email body layout for any ForNAV report in any extension. To demonstrate creating Business Central email layouts, I'm going to use these steps. The prerequisites, what do I need to get going? In step 2, I will set up emailing. In step 3, I will edit the salutation. In step 4, I will edit the email body. Let's start with the first step. Today, I will be creating email layouts in a Business Central Cloud tenant with the Business Central 2021 Wave 2 release. I have installed the ForNAV customizable report pack and I've executed the step-by-step wizard from the assisted setup to get started. Of course, everything I do today is also available on the Business Central on-premise environment. I also have the ForNAV Designer installed on my PC. The ForNAV Designer can be downloaded from the ForNAV website. Finally, you need a valid email setup for Business Central. I will use my Office 365 account for this. The first thing we need to do is tell Business Central which email layouts should be used. If you install ForNAV in a new environment, this will be set up for you automatically. For this webinar, I will show you how to do this manually. This can be done in two places, the report selection or the document layouts per customer. Let me show both. So, away with PowerPoint and let's get back to Business Central. In Business Central we have if you do anything with reports, it will be a familiar screen, the report selection sales. And in the report selection sales, as you know, you can set up the report ID per order. But what you can also do is you can set the use for email attachment and use for email body. And that way this report will be used either for an email attachment and for the email body. And finally, for the email body, you need to specify an email body layout. The email body layout will be a different layout from your standard invoice, because on the email body layout you would like to have something like, dear Mr. So-and-so, here's your invoice, and please get in touch if you have any questions. So you don't want to show the actual invoice in the email body. So that's why we create a specific email body layout. And in the ForNAV report pack, we have created a layout to create an email body per report. So every report that you might want to email has one of these layouts. So I've set this up for the order, and of course you can do the same thing for the invoice and all of your other all of the other documents you want to email. This will be alright for most situations. However, there will be situations where you would like to use a different report or a different layout for a specific customer. So you can set that up in Business Central as well. If I open my customers, and by the way, you can set the same thing up for the vendors. We usually focus on the sales documents in these webinars, but the vendors have the same setup. So if I open my customer card, in my related menu, I have a customer and I have the document layouts. And if I open a document layout, I can set up my documents per document type. So I can set up the quote or the invoice. Let's set this up for the invoice for now. Let's see if I can find the ForNAV invoice, which will be this one. And I can specify a custom layout per customer, so I can actually change the layout per customer. I can specify my email address, so accounts receivable at adatum.com, for instance. And I can use the for email body once again, and then I can specify the layout I want to use for the email body. So that's another way to set up your document layouts per customer. Once we've set up our email, the report we want to email and the email body, of course we need to set up our email system in Business Central. So you can open your email setup. And for now, for my system, I'm just on a Business Central sandbox. I've selected the current users. The users send emails from their own sign-in accounts, and in my case that will be my Office 365 account. So that's what Business Central will use. Depending on your setup of Business Central, this may be the shared mailboxes, or it may be the SMTP, and we recommend that you ask your Business Central partner about which setup works for you. So everything is set up. Let's open an order and see if we can actually email it. Let's grab one for Alpine Ski House, because I know that's that customer is in English. Let's select email confirmation. And in my Business Central 19, I get the email editor. And in my email editor, you will notice email is sent from me to somebody at Contoso. Then I have the email message, which is created with the ForNAV email body. And I have the attachment, which is a simple PDF file. And I can send this email, but of course the contoso.com doesn't accept emails. So let's close this one and discard the email. ForNAV will get the salutation for your email automatically. We noticed that in the email editor just now that it said Dear Mr. Ian Dunberry, I think it was. And ForNAV will get that based on the standard Business Central functionality. The contact that is used in the salutation will be based on a logical contact in the source data item. So for the customer table, that will be the primary contact. Invoices, credit memos, and return orders will be sent to the bill or pay to contacts. Quotes and orders will be, the salutation will be sell to and buy from, and if the data item is anything else, ForNAV will try to get the first contact field in that data item. If the data item doesn't have a contact field, then of course we can't create a salutation. You can change the salutation formulas yourself, so you can control how Business Central and ForNAV create a salutation. So let's demonstrate that. Let's open my sales order that I was working on, and this is sent to Mr. Ian DeBerry. So how does Business Central create this salutation? If I open my contact and edit it, in this contact you will notice that there is a salutation code. Salutation code is M, and you will notice that is male, married or unmarried. There's a bunch of salutation codes inside standard Business Central. If I open the salutations page, we can actually start editing them. So we had the M, male, married or unmarried, and the way these salutations are built up are created by formulas. And in these formulas, let's grab the English one right here. You can say, you can write some text, so Dear Mr. Now we have %1, %2, %3, and those percent codes correspond to the name 1 to name 5. So you can actually use 5 different variables inside your salutation, and the standard male formal will be sent to Dear Mr. first name, middle name and surname. And you can change that to anything you want. So if I think Dear is a bit too formal, I can change it to higher, and I can use the surname, middle name and first name because that makes sense to me. So, of course you might want to set this up differently in your own tenant, but for now, for this webinar, this should work just fine. And like I said, this is a standard setup inside Business Central. This will be set up automatically for you. So let's go back to my order and email it again. And you will notice it's a bit small right here. See if I can zoom in. It's a bit too big. You will notice it now says, "Hi, Mr. DeBerry Ian." So that's the way I've just changed my salutation. Let's close and discard the email again. We don't want to be spamming Mr. Ian DeBerry. So let's move on to the last part of this webinar. So finally, once we have set up the email layout and we've set up our salutations, we may need to edit the email body text. So let's change the email body and the footer text. To change the email body, we have two options, because as always with ForNAV we use a templating system. So if I open my ForNAV reports list, I have we've been working on the order, so let's start editing the order. The order, in this case, it's using the built-in layout. It doesn't have any other layouts that are activated. However, every ForNAV report has underwater an email body layout, which I can design from here. And if I design it, then as usual my layout will open in the ForNAV designer, which is right here. And you will notice right away that this report has been connected to a master report. So my document header right here is connected to the ForNAV email body template, and my lines are connected to the ForNAV sales template sales tags. You may have noticed this is a US sandbox, so I use the sales tags reports as masters. If I want to change this document header, of course I can I can disconnect this report from the email body template, but I can also edit the email body itself, the email template itself, which will change all of the email reports. You will notice also that the lines are available in the email report layout. However, they are not. They are used by default. They're not used in the email layouts, and that's because the show output for the lines is set to false. If you want to email the email body lines, the invoice lines or the order lines, simply set this to true, and it will start emailing the lines. So for now, I'll close this one, leave this one as standard, and find in my templates list my email body template, which I can edit like any other ForNAV report. And you will notice right here that I can start editing stuff around. So let's mess things up a bit. By default, ForNAV will use an expression format. Expression, it's a function that will get your email text based on your document language, your document number, and your document. I want to change this. I don't want to use the standard text. I just want to add something for myself, so I want to add the number on this report. So I'm going to grab the number. I want to display that in bold, and I want to write some text for myself, so I'm going to grab a label, and this label I'm going to set to can grow, so I don't need to fiddle around with how big it's going to be. So set can grow to yes, and in my label I'm just going to copy and paste some text, which of course I've prepared before this webinar. So this is just a simple bit of text that I've just plucked from some website. I'm going to save this as text, and of course you can write text in every language. For now, let's stick with English. So we'll have that, and now we notice that the text in the email was a little bit small. So let's make the text a bit bigger. Let's use 12. I'll use 12 here as well. And I'm going to save this as a custom layout on the server and activate it. Which means that if I refresh the page, the email body template report is now using a ForNAV custom layout. And let's try and email an order once more. There we have the order. You will notice the text is a bit bigger now, and it's using the order number in bold. And then we have the text that I have added, and in the footer the company name is bigger as well, whilst the phone number, etc., is still in the old size. So in short, that's how you change the ForNAV email body layouts. So you can choose to change the template for a change on all of the reports, all of the email layouts, or you can change every email layout by itself. So let's recap what we just did. The first thing we did was to set up the email system, report selection sales, and the customer document layouts. We also looked at and changed the default salutations. Finally, we changed the email body for the email template. So thank you for listening to me so far. I'll just check if we have any questions. There's no questions yet. If you do have any questions, please type them in the question box and I'll answer them before we wrap up this coffee break. In the meantime, if you want to know more about ForNAV, or if you want to download the ForNAV Designer and Converter, please visit our website. If you want to install ForNAV in Business Central Cloud, please visit Microsoft App Source. And if you want to watch more videos about ForNAV, you can find them on our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions about ForNAV at all, please email them to support@fornav.com. For a full list of upcoming and recorded coffee breaks, please visit fornav.com/coffeebreak. There's no more questions, so thank you very much for listening and goodbye.